I still remember the sound of the pen scratching across the paper. It felt heavier than it should have. Like every stroke was taking a piece of me away. My husband, Michael, stood beside me, calm, persuasive, as if this was just a small formality. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. And when the lawyer finally spoke the truth, everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and marriage fell apart. Before continue, please subscribe our channel and like our video. My name is Linda Carter, and for most of my life, I believed in love built on trust. Michael and I met 25 years ago in a little bookstore downtown. I was a teacher back then, and he was an ambitious young accountant who promised he'd make something of himself one day. And he did. Or at least, he made me believe he did. We built a comfortable life together, a cozy home in the suburbs, a lake nearby, and 2 beautiful children, Ethan and Lily, who became the very center of my world. Michael handled the finances. I trusted him completely. He used to say, "You take care of the family, honey. I'll take care of the rest." And I believed him, because that's what good wives did, right? Money wasn't something I thought much about. My salary went into the family account, and so did his. When my parents passed, I inherited their old estate, a lovely house with a garden I adored. It wasn't just a property to me. It was my childhood, my memories, my roots, but looking back now, I realized that was where the cracks began. Michael never liked that the estate was in my name. He'd joke, "Guess you're richer than me now." But there was something sharp behind that smile. I brushed it off. I thought I was imagining things. I had no idea those jokes would one day turn into something cruel. It started one quiet evening over dinner. Michael poured himself a glass of wine and said casually, "Linda, I talked to our lawyer today. He said we should consolidate all our assets under one name, just for tax purposes." I looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" I asked. He smiled, calm and reassuring. "It's just paperwork. You'd be signing the estate under both our names, or maybe just mine temporarily. It'll make things smoother." Something in my chest tightened, but after years of marriage, it felt wrong to doubt him. So I nodded slowly and said the words that would cost me everything. "I trust you." Those 3 words were my biggest mistake, because a week later, sitting in that lawyer's office, I realized I wasn't adding his name to the property. I was removing mine. The papers were stacked neatly in front of me. The lawyer, Mr. Jenkins, an older man with silver hair and kind eyes, explained the documents in a quiet voice, but Michael kept interrupting. "It's fine, just sign here, honey," he said, tapping the pen impatiently. I hesitated. "Can I take these home and read them first?" I asked. Michael's expression changed. Colder, sharper. "Linda, please. I've spent weeks getting this done. Don't you trust me?" That word again. Trust. I felt small under his gaze, like questioning him made me ungrateful. So, I signed. And with that single signature, my name disappeared from everything I had built. After that day, something shifted. Michael grew distant. He started spending more nights working late. He changed his passwords, took private calls in the other room, and whenever I asked about money, he'd say, "You don't need to worry about that." But I did worry. Bills came that I didn't recognize. Letters arrived from banks I'd never heard of. And when I tried to ask questions, he'd accuse me instead. "Why are you so suspicious lately? You're acting paranoid." Soon, I began to feel like a stranger in my own home. The mansion I had inherited, my family's legacy, now felt like it didn't belong to me anymore. Because, as I would soon learn, it truly didn't. It was my daughter, Lily, who uncovered the truth. She was studying law at the time, home for the summer. One afternoon, she found a letter from the property registrar. "Mom," she said softly, "why is the estate listed only under Dad's name?" My heart sank. I took the letter from her trembling hands and read it. There it was, black and white, my signature, the one that had erased me. That night, After everyone went to bed, I went through Michael's study. I found receipts for a new property, one I'd never heard of, and a folder labeled Future Plans. Inside were drafts of divorce papers, already signed by him. He had planned everything. He wanted the estate, the accounts, the comfort, without me in the picture, and he almost succeeded. The next morning, I didn't confront him. I called Mr. Jenkins instead, the lawyer who had been there that day. "Mr. Jenkins," I said, my voice trembling, "I need to understand what I signed." There was silence on the other end. Then he sighed. "Mrs. Carter, I wanted to warn you that day, but your husband insisted it was mutual. I shouldn't have proceeded, but I was pressured." "Pressured by who?" I asked. He hesitated. "By him. He told me you were ill, that you needed help managing your affairs." The air left my lungs, but I didn't cry. I just said, "Then help me fix this. Please." And from that moment, I stopped being his victim and started being my own advocate. With Mr. Jenkins' help, I gathered everything: emails, transfers, messages. I didn't tell Michael. I smiled when he came home. I made his coffee. I listened to his small talk and waited. He had no idea the lawyer he once used was now the one preparing my case. 2 weeks later, we sat in that same office, the same room where I had once signed away everything. Michael walked in, confident, expecting to finalize our financial separation. But this time, I wasn't alone. Mr. Jenkins sat beside me. No longer his lawyer, but mine. "Mr. Carter," Jenkins said firmly, "it appears you misrepresented your wife's capacity and consent during the signing of the deed. That's not only unethical, it's invalid in court." Michael's face turned red. "That's ridiculous," he snapped. But Jenkins quietly placed the evidence on the table: the emails, the messages, the divorce drafts, and the letter where Michael had claimed I was mentally unfit to manage assets. The room fell silent. I looked at him, this man I had once loved, and all I felt was calm. "I trusted you, Michael," I said softly, "and you used that against me. But not anymore." He had no words. The truth had already spoken, through the lawyer, through the documents, through the silence that followed. A few months later, the court restored everything in my name. I sold the estate, not out of anger, but because I wanted peace. I bought a small home near the coast, where I can see the ocean from my porch. Lily visits often. Ethan calls every Sunday, and for the first time in years, life feels quiet, honest, and free. Sometimes I still think about Michael. He lost more than property. He lost the family that once trusted him. And I learned something I'll never forget. Trust should be earned, never demanded. You can rebuild wealth, but not broken integrity. If this true story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more calm, emotional stories about strength, truth, and second chances.